According to the Russian Defense Ministry, on the night of June 21st, there was the most massive drone attack by the Ukrainian armed forces since the beginning of the war. The Ukraine attacked with drones 4 Russian oil refineries: Afipsky, Ilinsky, Krasnodar and Astrakhan. They also hit radar stations and electronic surveillance centers in Bryansk region and temporarily occupied Crimea.
This is one of the key economic sectors of the Russian Federation. The second key point is that this sector is directly related to military issues, providing oil and lubricants to the front line of the Russian terrorist army that is fighting against the Ukrainian people. We can also talk about a certain emotional political context, because Ukraine is the first country in the world that is fighting on the territory of the enemy, the Russian Federation.
Also, the day before, a fuel and lubricants depot of the Russian military in the Tambov region and the oil depot in the Adygea region were attacked. At least 5 explosions were recorded there, followed by a fire. In addition, drones hit a fuel depot in the Tambov region. At least 1 tank with oil products was damaged. The drone strikes on Russian oil refineries mark a new stage of the war, Bloomberg writes.
Strikes at these military facilities have indeed been recorded. They are being used precisely for military purposes, either to supply the occupation forces in Ukraine or to finance the Russian Federation's genocidal war against Ukraine. Of course, for the so-called Russian Federation, which officially positions itself as a petrol pump country, such things are extremely sensitive, and the Putin's regime is already feeling the consequences, including the negative effect on the economy in general. Andriy Yusov, representative of the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, on the air of Ukrainian national telephone.
Drone strikes on oil refineries and military facilities on Russian territory are causing problems not only with resources, but also with logistics. Attacks are being carried out on oil depots near the front line, where fuel for the Russian army is stored.
The fact that a Russian tanks can't move at some point when it should move is an afterthought of those who struck the Russian bases. This is a very important aspect. Strategically, in a war of attrition, only strikes on oil refineries matter. The statistics on petrol production are closed now. No one knows what effect the strikes will have on supply and demand on the fuel market.
In order to keep the petrol prices down, the Kremlin sends hundreds of billions of rubles from the budget compensating oil companies for the losses. In other words, for the past several years, one of the most important industries in Russia has been surviving on subsidies rather than making its own profit. Only in 2023, oil companies received more than 1 trillion rubles from the budget. After the strikes of the Ukrainian armed forces, these subsidies will have to be increased. Experts predict that by the end of the year, fuel prices in Russia will skyrocket. Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Victoria Smirnova, UATV News.